تهیه و تنظیم در استودیو بیزرایز.
I don't know if you've ever had Russian food. Maybe some Russian people would disagree, but it's not very tasty. It's just practical. That's all it is. So just make sure food does not take up a crazy amount of your life. Meal prep at the beginning of the week and just make sure it's the same food for the entire week. And then the next week you can cycle to something different. Now the fifth productivity hack is another one where I'm shooting myself in the foot. And that is, I want you to delete TikTok right now, unless it has a direct correlation to your line of work. Listen, if you're a short form editor, or let's say, you're an affiliate marketer for a certain product, and the way you do that is through short form content on TikTok. Or let's say you get leads through your business through TikTok, which very few people do. So let's say you are the 1 in 50 people that actually makes money through TikTok. Then of course, don't delete it. But if you're anyone else, 49 of those 50 other people, just delete it. There's no point for it whatsoever. This is just another thing that is here to rob your attention. And that's it. That's really it. And listen, you may even be following me on TikTok. And the funny thing is, I think I got to 1.5 or 2 million followers on TikTok without ever having downloaded the app in my entire life. My team just posts a bunch of stuff. If you wanted me to create a TikTok, I wouldn't even know how to do it. Like, I only downloaded it 3 or 4 months ago because I'm like, okay, this is crazy. We're getting like 200 million views a month on short form between TikTok and Insta Reels and what's the other, YouTube Shorts. So I was like, maybe I should download it and at least every once in a while check in and kind of understand the platform and what people are posting. But once again, that is related to work. So listen, I am deeply honored if you follow me on TikTok. But just don't. The small benefit that you get from short form clips on TikTok, because as I said, that's entertainment more than anything. I mean, the wisdom is great, but the issue is the little upside that you get isn't worth the complete downside. Because, maybe you see one of my TikToks and it's great and you get a new perspective. But that's one TikTok out of maybe 10 BS ones and 10 BS TikToks that take you into a mental spiral that you don't want to be in, nor should you be in. So that's number one. The other thing is I want you to mute everyone on Instagram. Now, I understand for a lot of people, Instagram is sort of like their social CV, whether that be dating, whether that be career. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, Instagram is important in today's day and age, but that doesn't mean you need to watch everyone's stories or everyone posts. Like, I pretty much have, I would say, 90% of people muted on Instagram, because to be honest, I just don't give a shit. Like, unless it's like a close friend of mine or like C-suite level at one of my companies, like really top managerial people in my companies, the CEOs or CMOs or whatever. Like, I don't need to know what you're doing day to day. I'm gonna be honest. And you need to have that exact same focus and that exact same protection around your attention. Now, the next productivity hack is to create a simple 3-step morning routine. Listen, most morning routines are absolute BS. And by the way, I was one of those people who used to have that 10-step routine that would take 4 hours. So by the way, when I say all of this stuff, I'm not judging because I've been there. Like I told you, I'm coming up to my 10th year as an entrepreneur. When I first made my first penny online, I have done everything. I've tried everything. So I'm not sitting here judging you. I'm just trying to relay really what actually works and what's fluff. So when you see all of these 15-step morning routine, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, when you see all these morning routines where they wake up at 5 a.m., it's all BS. Wake up whatever time you want to wake up. It doesn't matter, trust me. Now, here's the thing. If you have work or you have school, then yeah, you should be an early riser. I'm sure most of you guys know I dropped out at 17 because I was already making crazy money. I had an employee, I had a proper business. So I dropped out of school at 17. I also had to take care of me and my single mom. So, my life story was a little different. But before that, when I was still in school, I used to be an early riser. I hated it. I'm not really a morning person. I hated it, but for me, it was getting those early hours of work in before school and those early hours of exercise a lot of times before school that really helped me make sure that I got important things done. So if you fall under that category, then yeah, of course, maybe waking up earlier makes a lot of sense to make sure that you get everything done always. But listen, if you're not in that category, wake up whatever time you want. I've used to wake up at 5 a.m. I used to wake up at 6 a.m. I used to wake up at 7:30 a.m. Now I wake up at 8:30 because I also spend majority of my year in Dubai, and most of my employees and most of my team are in America and Europe. So for me, it doesn't make sense to wake up at 5:30 knowing that I have calls most days up until 9 p.m. Most of my leadership calls start at 5:30 and end at 9 between the different companies. So find a simple 3-step routine. My old routine in London, let's say for example 3 years ago, I would wake up at 6:30. I would do a little bit of journaling while drinking a coffee, and then my personal trainer would show up at my doorstep. We'd walk 2 minutes to the gym, and I would start my training session for the day. That was my 3-step morning routine. Now my morning routine is a little different. I wake up and the first thing I do is I go jump in the cold plunge. So I go down to my home gym garage, I jump in the cold plunge. After that, I have a shower and get ready. And the third thing is I make myself a coffee and I sit down at this desk and I just have 30 minutes of me time. I just jot down ideas, vision for my companies. I look at my overall corporate structure, my investments, where my investments fall into within my different entities, within my different holding companies and my different trusts. And as I said, it's a lot to manage these days. And then I get started with the day. So whatever fits best into your life. Now I'm very lucky where I train at 4 p.m. every day. I like that, that works for me. But back in the day, really the only practical time to work out was first thing in the morning. So just find whatever works for you, but just make sure it's a 3-step morning routine. No 10-step or 12-step and nothing that takes 4 hours. It really genuinely should take you no more than an hour, hour and a half from the moment that you wake up to the moment that you get to your desk and you're getting to work. Now, the last hack may seem simple, but once again, that is the beauty of it. And that is that I want you to lay out your clothes the night before. The worst thing in the morning that you can have is the decision fatigue of deciding, okay, what am I going to wear today? Now, I've already told you, you should have your sort of home work uniform, which is just very simple, very easy to put together. But still, nonetheless, you should lay it out the night before. And you especially want to lay out your clothes if you're working out in the morning. Now, for me, I'm going to be honest, it's more difficult not training than it is. Like, I love training, whatever it is, whether that's running, whether that's boxing, whether that's functional CrossFit training, whatever it is, like, I just enjoy it. But nonetheless, you want to lay out your clothes, especially if that's something that you struggle with in your life, or especially if you struggle to wake up in the morning. Trust me, it takes 2 minutes a night, but it makes the morning so much more seamless. So ladies and gentlemen, I say all of this with love, because as I said, I have tried so much stuff, and especially in my early days, I saw so many things that I thought were important to success, and they just weren't. So this is just me being honest of what has worked for me over the last 10 years and what hasn't. I hope it was useful to you. And as always, I'm watching from afar and I'm rooting for you.